Hello my dear fellows and welcome back to this new campaign in Hearts of Iron 4 with the Total War mod. Well, to be honest, this is not anything new, as you may all remember my previous and shameful campaign with China. However, as I wrote down in the comments to one of my previous video, it was not my intention to give up on this, and eventually I would have played a second campaign to get my revenge against the artificial intelligence. Together with my inexperience with any Chinese nor Asian nation in Hearts of Iron 4, the latter proved to be a real pain in the ass in my previous campaign. Furthermore, as I was recording this first episode, I realized that I'm streaming from my beloved town in Italy, which has one apparent advantage, and one huge problem. Given the super high internet connection due to the optic fiber, I downloaded Hearts of Iron 4 from Steam with a blink of an eye, and I guess the same will happen when uploading this video on my channel. The downside of recording from home is that the PC I have here is of a far lower quality compared to the one I have in Germany. While trying new approaches before recording this new campaign, I could feel the lag growing in my veins as the in-game years progressed beyond 1940. Therefore, I apologize in advance if any of the videos uploaded within this period will be of a lower quality. Alright, enough complaining now. Let's talk a bit about my strategies adopted too, hopefully, and I say hopefully because I do not want to spoiler anything already in the introductory video. Bring the Asian giant to the final victory, whereas with final victory I mean to defeat the Japanese and finish off the civil war once and for all. For those of you who miss my shameful and humiliating previous campaign, very briefly let me tell you that China is a real pain of a nation to play with. You start with a plethora of negative modifiers and other maluses, which reflects the corruption and confusion plaguing the society and the military of that time. This is reflected by the extremely slow research progress, construction speed and factory output, three key aspects that you need to take care of in the Total War mod if you want to survive against the Japanese onslaught. As it seems that focusing heavily on lifting those nasty maluses slowing down your research can be counterproductive. In this second approach I decided to maximize the industrial output by prioritizing the focuses, giving me some juicy free civilian and military factories as well, and by rushing down the financial policy focus. My goal was to get as many buildings as possible, as well getting the political advisor reducing the consumer goods factories by 3%. Besides investing 21 days to complete the democracy focus to get that inviting 120 political power and 70 days to finish the academica sinica focus. To alleviate those annoying research maluses, I decided to start at the end of August 1936. The 3 years plan focus switch provided me with a small boost in factory output and construction speed. The decision to progress with the Military Affairs Commission and Army Reform foci was because those two provided me with the much needed army experience to edit the divisional templates, but more on those later on. Last but not least, the Mining Commission focus gave me the opportunity to hire a team of specialized geologists who increased by 10% my resources output, freeing 2 civilian factories from the world trade market, which were immediately diverted to the construction of additional factories. Right before the outbreak of the hostilities, the national focus foreign threat turned out to be useful enough for the extra entrenchment for all the frontline divisions. Research-wise, this time I focused entirely on improving the defensive stats of my infantry divisions, as well as making some progress in the field of electronical engineering. When my teams finished the development of a rudimental medium artillery howitzer, priority went in studying how to integrate a logistics company into the Chinese army, as many units were reporting to the central headquarters to be in a dangerously low supply situation. A situation that was not facilitated by the poor state of the Chinese road and rail networks. The 75% research bonus applied on civilian works and concentrated industry arrived on the nick of time, almost nullifying the enormous penalties on the industrial research and providing a small boost to global factory output and national stability. And as now I do not want to stress you with all the pros and cons of each available research option that I decided to take before the outbreak of the hostilities. Very briefly, here are my choices. Sniper teams for an extra bonus to my infantry defense. Field hospitals to rescue as many battle-hardened soldiers as possible. Construction to just to use the nice 75% research bonus. New rifles and hand grenades to upgrade those bunch of rusty World War I relics, followed by technical improvements to the light artillery guns and medium caliber howitzers. As you may have noticed, I have purposely skipped the entire land doctrine path, as I calculated it was simply not worth investing time and research slots into that, and my strategy was to rely solely on my divisions to repel the Japanese offensive. Dealing with divisions, time has now come to talk about the army organization. As many of you pointed out, in my previous attempt with China I failed to adequately protect my coastline from the enemy invasion forces, and by a faltering micromanagement of my troops I simply opened the way to the unstoppable Japanese. Not this time anymore. As you have seen, the first things that I felt right to do has been to train a total amount of 45 garrison divisions, as they were relatively small divisions requiring not too much equipment. With the experience gained through training, and with the aim of bolstering my main frontline units, Chiang Kai-shek's personal advisor Tian-92 begun reforming the Chinese army as early as February 1936. The first reform reduced the battalions in the regular infantry divisions from 12 to 9, and homogenized the divisional organization by replacing the light infantry units with regular infantry battalions. This was followed by a further reorganization of the assault divisions by the addition of 3 light infantry battalions and a reduction in size of the garrison divisions, event that caused a massive deployment of troops in the field. I know people, what you are thinking at, but do not worry, I will include at the end of the video a couple of screenshots with my current divisional table of organization and equipment. Oh, and I have almost forgot about it, as part of the plan to maximize firepower and organization, all the lovely 86 militia units were promptly transformed into assault divisions and put immediately under intense training. Minor additions like a battalion of frontline medium howitzers, the divisional headquarters and support units like the field hospital or the logistics companies were gradually introduced as soon as the experience to do so was available. And as if all the already available units were not enough, 6 more regular infantry and 6 assault divisions were raised by order of Field Marshal Tian-92. True, the fact that the Chinese army grew bigger and bigger meant further sacrifices for my war industry, but, apparently, the decision to prioritize the industrial branch of the focus tree immediately gave its fruits. All the civilian factories received immediately were either used to fuel the resource market, or enlisted in the construction queue, while the military infrastructures went rapidly online to fulfill the ever-growing requests of military goods. Despite falling short on horses and medical equipment, by the time the hostilities begun the Chinese army had 7 cavalry, 9 infantry and 86 assault divisions ready to fight and fully trained for the defense of the coastline. 48 second-rate garrison divisions, equipped with the crappiest rifles ever made in China, and whose men were either too old or too coward to fight in the hot zone, were deployed from Hong Kong to the Manchurian border, stationed in improvised pillboxes and reinforced trenches, protected by only a thin layer of barbed wire, and patrolling the beaches day and night. Those poor men nervously awaited the appearance of the invasion fleet. Everyone knew the invasion was coming. Nobody could however tell precisely where. Guys, thank you very much for watching and happy holidays. Stay tuned for the next episode.